Donald Trump had made no secret for a long time that he wanted basically the network to get rid of Jimmy Kimmel. In fact, he's been like that with all four of the late night hosts here in the United States. They're really, every night having fun or making jokes at his expense, and sometimes in quite a barbed fashion. It's not often that the president gets that in such a public way. He really doesn't like it. And he was pushing for Kimmel, Jimmy Fallon, Seth Meyers to go. He already, you could argue, succeeded in CBS, having got rid of Stephen Colbert, whose show was cancelled back in July. But look, it's sort of, I think, emblematic of Donald Trump's war on some of these media outlets that he really doesn't like. Let's not forget, he's just announced he's suing the New York Times for $15 billion. He's already suing the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion. And that's where the conversation is, that the president is accused of essentially using his power to shut down dissent, to shut down mouthpieces, media organisations who are saying things that he doesn't want to hear. Now, the Democrats have really jumped up about this one today. They've announced a bill they're going to be putting through Congress, which they say will protect free speech. And they've used some pretty strong language. Let's hear from Democrat Congressman Greg Casar.
We are in the biggest free speech crisis this country has faced since the McCarthy era. The murder of Charlie Kirk was a horrific crime, and it's clear that Trump wants to hijack that horrific crime to silence anyone who disagrees with the president about any issue. We have to ask ourselves that if Watergate happened today, would our biggest news outlets be allowed to run the story?
People are certainly pointing to the fact that the ABC network, which took Jimmy Kimmel off the air, is currently waiting for federal government approval for a corporate merger. Now, there's a sequence of events here, which is, Jimmy Kimmel's monologue was on Monday. On Wednesday, the head of the Federal Communications Commission went on a Conservative podcast and essentially said, look, ABC's got a problem here with Jimmy Kimmel. This is sick stuff. If ABC doesn't act, then the FCC might have to. Hours after that, Jimmy Kimmel's program was taken off the air. So joining the dots there. But also, it was a similar, series of events when Stephen Colbert was taken off the air in July. The company, CBS, was at the same time also waiting for federal government approval for a corporate merger. So, people joining the dots there. But as you say, Donald Trump really wasn't going anywhere near that. Let's hear some of what he had to say in that conference in the UK.
Jimmy Kimmel was fired because he had bad ratings more than anything else, and he said a horrible thing about a great gentleman known as Charlie Kirk. And Jimmy Kimmel is not a talented person. He had very bad ratings, and they should have fired him a long time ago. So, you can call that free speech or not. He was fired for lack of talent.
So there's Donald Trump. I mean, as we said, we're still to hear from Jimmy Kimmel. We're still to hear from any of the networks. But as I say, it's also been dominating the conversation here. It's going to go on, I think.